Howdy, folks. I'm Carefree Canis Major, clumsily careening through crowded city centers.
I'm Amber.
And here are more city centers for us to careen through crowdedly. I don't know. I guess that's just what dogs do. Big dogs do. If they're too big, then the city streets become too narrow, and then they bump into the buildings and then knock them down. Yes, this is definitely
It's like the Godzilla of dogs.
yeah,
I mean, I guess all constellations are giants.
yeah,
So.
it's a kaiju dog. I'm sorry. We're really getting into it now. Let's get started. All right, folks, and our first letter is titled, I think my husband's mistress thinks that he is richer than he actually is. My best friend thinks that I'm terrible because I am keeping silent. Husband is in quotes because we're not actually married yet. Throwaway, please let me vent here. He's a 39-year-old, and I'm a 39-year-old. The mistress is 29 years old, and my best friend is 39. We have been together for 14 years, living together for 11. He came and told me that he was in love about 3 weeks ago. I was surprised at the lack of care I had to give at receiving such information. I did love him, but maybe my love has always been conditional, and its survival depends on it being reciprocal because it literally vanished the second he confessed to me that he was in love with another woman. He didn't want a separation, but to maybe open the relationship or let his feelings for her subside. I said it was over. It was like I had never had feelings for him ever. He was taken aback by my indifference, which I thought, the audacity. Did he expect me to be hurt and suffer? I told him that he should be relieved that he didn't cause pain. Instead, he has been sulking since. Well, last Friday I got home and the mistress was there, sitting in my kitchen, sipping my tea. I felt nauseous because, seriously, I told them that this wasn't civil at all and to never be in my home again or I would call the cops. I went into my room and I heard her yelling at him for not standing up for her. Then I heard her say something very curious. Why haven't you kicked her out yet? He was trying to tell her to lower her voice, whispering. Later, we can discuss this later. She left and then he came in to apologize to me. He said that we didn't have any adult intimate time here if this is what you're scared of. She just dropped by because I was working from home today. I told him that he had until the end of March to move out and to find somewhere to be during the weekends. This morning, I changed all of the locks. From now on, he isn't allowed in my place during working hours, so if he starts later or finishes earlier, then he needs to wait for me to come home and let him in. But his mistress's words stuck with me, so during the weekend, I have been stalking her social media. I think that she thinks that he is rich, or at least that he owns my apartment. I think that she also thinks that my parents' summer house and boat are his. Unfortunately, the loser has taken her there, probably bragging about his wealth, because her hashtags were all about the hashtag good life. I was telling my best friend all of this, but she was more agitated than indignant on my behalf. She told me that he was scum for not telling the mistress the truth. I agreed, I know, right? But then she said that I was no better not explaining to her this situation either. I was dumbfounded, but she was serious. I told her that it wasn't my job to bring back the mistress to earth. My best friend got very angry and demanded that I give her the mistress's username so that she could warn her. No, I said. She called me a bigger D than he was. I don't know what's going on with these people. Have they gone mad or have I? When did our moral compasses go askew like this? Can someone tell me that I am not ridiculous? All right, folks, what do you think?
All right, OP, I will be happy to tell you you are not ridiculous in this situation. It is not your responsibility to set your husband's mistress state. Furthermore, she's going to find out very quickly that none of this is actually his when he gets booted out in March. And presumably you're going to let your parents know not to let him around the boat and everything. So yeah, hopefully that won't be happening again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think like OP could give them a heads up if they wanted to, but it's also going to be kind of awkward to be like, hey, by the way, he isn't rich. This is all mine. What is OP going to say? And how is OP going to say this in such a way that it isn't going to come across as petty or mean?
Well, and the other issue is that she may not believe no matter what OP says. She may think that OP is just like messing with her or something, and it puts OP in a potentially bad situation because she doesn't know the mistress at all or what intentions she has. When people feel like they're having their worldview shattered, they can get very upset and angry, and that may be a situation that OP doesn't want to deal with.
Yeah. So I don't think that OP is a bigger, D than the ex, right? Because I think that he's been cheating on her, and he has been leading on this other girl, and he's just been overall, all around, not a very nice person. And the fact that he was like, oh, hey, let's open up the relationship, when he thought he was so sure that OP would just acquiesce, have his cake and eat it too.
Yeah, well, he's an absolute scum. So 100% agreement there. The mistress isn't much better because she knows about OP and wants OP to be kicked out and, like, doesn't care what happens. So,
Yeah.
I'm not on her side either. I think OP, again, it's not OP's responsibility. She could tell her if she wanted to, but it's not her responsibility.
Yeah, it wasn't like the mistress went and looked OP up and was like, hey, by the way, your husband's cheating on you. Right? The mistress never gave OP the heads up that the friend is requesting OP give her. So I don't know. I don't think that this is any responsibility of OP. I think they can walk away from this feeling just fine, that they don't have any moral obligation to tell this person anything. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck.
Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my cousins that their cat isn't really a cat? I'm a 27-year-old male, and recently I traveled to my father's home country of Rwanda. I had some time off from work and thought it would be a fun little trip. Firstly, Rwanda is a beautiful country, highly recommend. I was staying with my dad's younger brother, 55-year-old male, and his family, wife and 3 kids. It was the first time I had seen them in over a year, so it was nice seeing them again. The biggest thing that stood out on the trip was my cousin's cat. As soon as I got there, my younger cousins, 12-year-old male, 10-year-old female, and 7-year-old male, kept wanting me to see their cat, Bob. Bob wasn't there the first or second day of my trip, which I thought was pretty odd. You see, my uncle's family lives on the outskirts of town, so I'd imagine it wasn't exactly safe to let their cat wander about. But my cousins reassured me that Bob can take care of himself. Early on my 3rd day of the trip, my cousins woke me up to see Bob. I was low-key excited at this stage because they were making such a build-up. I wasn't expecting what I saw. Bob is massive, has a small head with pointy ears, and makes some weird sound that sounds like a meow pronounced with a T. No way to describe it. He kind of looked like a mountain lion, to be honest. I was beyond terrified when I saw him, not gonna lie. My fear slowly left over the days because I saw Bob was really cuddly with the family and sort of acted like a dog, i.e., he was very friendly and had a thing for chewing on shoes. I guess he's so friendly because my uncle says they've had him since he was a teeny kitten. By searching online, I found out that Bob was a carceral, I think, and not a cat. When I kept on insisting on this point to my cousins, they'd get upset and keep on repeating that he was just big. I didn't want to argue too much with them, but I kept insisting that Bob was no cat. When I got home from my trip, my dad told me that apparently my cousins were upset that I kept on saying that Bob wasn't a cat, and now they want me to apologize to them and to Bob, lol. My dad thinks I was a bit of a jerk for insisting so much. Am I the jerk? For those wondering, I will be calling them tomorrow morning to apologize since it is a little late for them now. I get that Bob is technically a cat, but honestly, isn't he just a cat in the same sense that lions and tigers are cats? Regardless, I will call them first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so I mean, I think in this particular case, OP was expecting a house cat.
Yeah.
And they got a wild cat instead. And I mean, I agree. Yes, a carceral is a cat, right? And I mean, I certainly, like, in the same way that any big cat is a cat. And there are a lot of different types of cats out there, but I think when OP was told about this cat, they were expecting a house cat. And I think when they say cat, they mean house cat and not actual cat. Because, like, yeah, they're felines. These are all felines, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think OP was just being overly nitpicky. It's clear that the cousins love their pet, and it doesn't matter whether Bob is a house cat or not.
Yeah.
He's their cat.
Well, it might, because to some degree, if you have a animal that is not tame, like, this is a wild animal still, right? And it could turn, and I think that is a definite it's happened before, wild animals like this, they can be dangerous. They're not really meant for captivity, and that's really what it boils down to. And I think that they're handling this pretty well. I mean, they've raised it from a kitten, so the chances of it, like, attacking them, I think, are small. They understand its body language, probably. So I mean, I don't think there's too much of a risk, but it could turn, and that should be a legitimate concern of theirs.
Well, but it doesn't seem like that was what OP was doing. It seems like OP's arguments were semantics. Like, well, no, he's not a cat.
No, 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 yeah. I was just saying that I think that this isn't necessarily in the same category as a house cat.
Oh, absolutely.
And I agree. OP is being pedantic here. Like these are all cats, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. Like there are some people who have tigers as pets, right? And
Here, kitty, kitty.
yeah, I mean, they're still cats, right? And a tiger is a cat, a lion is a cat, and that's really what it boils down to. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to babysit last minute and ruining the parents' important plans because their son seemed older than what they said they were? I'm a 19-year-old female, and I've been babysitting occasionally for families over the past 2 years. A week ago, a new family got my number from one of the families that I babysit for a lot. I told them up front that I have this rule where I only babysit boys that are 10 and under. But when it comes to girls, the age isn't an issue for me. They told me that they had 2 boys, ages 9 and 10, so I agreed. They told me that they had very important plans that day, so I am to babysit, and I assured them that I am very professional and I will be there on time and all of that. The day came, and I went to their house, and the dad greeted me, and then took me to their living room to meet the boys. To my surprise, the boys did not look like they were 9 and 10. One looked 12, and the other looked like he could be 15 or 16. Both were taller than me, and older one even had some visible facial hair. All that was going through my head was that these parents had lied to me about the ages, because I lead with my rule about the ages, and they lied to me just so I would accept. When the mother came down to greet me, I asked to speak to her in another room and told her that I cannot babysit. I was truthful about the reason, and she was livid. We got into a back and forth where I basically said that I feel that they lied to me about the ages, and she said, "Oh, so you want me to show you their birth certificates and believe me?" At this point, I was kind of mad because she was immediately livid, and I also felt like I was fooled. Anyways, I said, yeah, some proof would be helpful. She stomped off to the living room, and I could hear her telling her husband to get this bee out of my house. I will stay with the boys. I walked out of the kitchen towards the front door and announced that I'm leaving before stepping out. Later that night, the mom of the family who recommended me called and was pretty angry. I explained that the boys looked so much older than they were said to be, and there was no way she wasn't lying. She said that maybe one is actually 11, but the other one is truly 9, and they just look like they are so much older. To be fair, the mother was tall and the dad was huge. It's actually the reason why I asked to confront with the mother and not the father. But the boys weren't just tall, but also looked older face-wise. Also, babysitting 2 strange boys who were both taller and clearly much stronger than me doesn't make me feel safe, which is why I have the age rule in the first place. There was no way that the mother didn't realize that her boys looked so much older than boys of their ages. I feel like it was something that she should have mentioned to me after telling her my rule about the ages. I felt like I was justified, but also felt bad that I ruined their plans. Everyone involved is angry with me, and I wonder if maybe I was overreacting and should have just babysit since I agreed. Right now, I don't know what to think. Was I the jerk here? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think OP was in the wrong here. And this is a physical safety issue for both OP and the kids. Even if they were both 9 and 10, they're taller and bigger than her. And she's not going to have any way to make sure that they do the things they need to do and to make sure that they are safe and she is safe.
Yeah, well, one of the things that she mentions in the comments is that she doesn't feel like if they got into a scuffle that she would be able to break them up.
Right.
And I think that is actually a really important point, right? Now, I think that OP should have been a little bit more clear about the reason why they don't actually babysit people over 9 or 10. And should have said, because I don't babysit people who are bigger than me because it's a safety concern, right? And I think that could have cleared up a lot of confusion.
I mean, it might have, but I also don't know if it was necessary because most 9 to 10-year-olds are going to be smaller than your average adult woman. Mm-hmm. And so, and I just think, like, I feel bad for the parents and the boys in this situation as well. But again, I think OP did the right thing by trying to ensure safety.
Yeah, well, and then also, they did lie. right? Like, one of them was at least 11, if not older, right? The friend was like, well, maybe they're 11, and that's really hard to interpret, right? Like, if he's growing facial stubble, then I mean, come on, right? Like, give me a break. You're gonna tell me that this kid with growing a full goatee is only 9 years old. Hey, Ma, grab me a beer. It's
Well,
like,
and babysitters are such precarious authorities in the first place.
Yeah,
Like, having a size advantage is one of the key things. So you can kind of like tell children you don't really know very well and they'll listen to you.
Yeah.
Like, these kids would have no incentive to listen to OP because here's this tiny little woman and, like, you know, she's not bigger than them. She doesn't have any real authority presence. And
Yeah. So I agree. I mean, I think that OP made the right call if they didn't feel comfortable babysitting these two individuals. And I mean, I can certainly understand their their concern here, because again, it is a matter of safety for both her and the children. And if she doesn't feel that she can safely babysit these children, then she can't provide that safe environment that the parents would want. And so she would be doing them a disservice if she did babysit them. And I do feel like the parents should have been a little less deceptive here, right? If she hadn't lied in the first place about one boy being 10, then there wouldn't have been this issue to begin with, right? Maybe if she had actually had both under 10-year-old and they look like they were, like, you know, professional bodybuilders or something like that, maybe that would have been like a like, still maybe a pause for concern for OP, even if they're not actually, you know, that young. I mean, I think there's the expectation, right?
Right. And so, like, there could, in some theory, be a case where you have a 10-year-old who is still bigger and stronger than OP, and OP could still say no. Because, again, it comes down to, is this going to be a safe environment for both the babysitter and the child?
Yeah. And I think, again, the parents were a little short-sighted, because if she has this rule and they didn't ask why they had this particular rule, or why do you not want to babysit boys that are older than, you know, a certain age? Because suppose that they were like 9 and 10, this would probably be not something that OP would do much more in the future, because they're going to turn 11 here soon, right? So it wouldn't be a long-term sustainable babysitting thing for them. So I don't know why they didn't inquire more as to what OP's motivations were. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke with wild eyes.
No, but, oh, you said my eyes were wild in the picture. Okay. Why did the child throw the cue ball into the water?
Well, the child threw the cue ball into the water because it was actually possessed with a demon, and it was really the only way to get rid of the demon was to throw it into Davy Jones' locker. But unfortunately, it actually didn't stop the demon. It eventually made its way back to shore because it was in a cue ball. It rolls, right?
Because he wanted to play pool.
That makes sense. Except for it makes no sense. That kid needs some supervision.
and he does it with a demon?
And I have licorice spice.
And I have Reader Beware.
Yeah, so Amber actually got her copy of Reader Beware, and she was very happy about this, and so that's great. She can now read it a second time.
I just love the cover. So.
Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior!
Happy Friday, Junior!
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Folks, remember, there is a live stream tomorrow, and we hope to see you then. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please, have it involve a lie.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we endeavor to deceive.
What a tangled web indeed. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!
Howdy, folk. There's a single person who will watch this video. That's it. I'm taking it down as soon as there's one view that's reached.